Seat removal. Open the seat lock. Remove the pillion seat. Remove the 2 bolts. Remove the rider seat. Side cover removal. Put off the fuel cock. Remove the 2 screws. Remove the side cover left-hand side. Similarly, remove the right-hand side cover. Battery connection removal. Disconnect the cable from the battery terminal. Remember, always disconnect the negative terminal of the battery connection first. Fuel tank top cover removal. Remove the 2 Allen bolts along with the plain washers. Remove the cover mesh on the right-hand side. Remove the 2 Allen bolts along with the collared washers. Similarly, remove it for the left-hand side also. Remove the 2 Phillips screws along with the washers. Remove the 2 bolts along with the collared washers on the front right and the left-hand side. Disconnect the hose expansion tank. Remove the fuel tank cover. Fuel tank removal. Remove the 3 bolts along with the collared washers. Disconnect the breather pipe from the fuel tank. Fuel tank connections removal. Disconnect the fuel pipe. Disconnect the fuel gauge coupler. Now take out the fuel tank with the drain pipe. Carburetor connection removal. Loosen the carburetor mounting Allen bolt on the air filter side. Similarly, loosen for the intake manifold side. Remember, use an Allen key with a long handle. Remove the 2 bolts of the air filter assembly mounting. Remove the positive crankcase ventilation tube. Remove the drain tube for the air filter. Remove the idling adjustment cable grommet and push the cable inside the bracket. Disconnect the entry duct from the chassis clamp. Remember, insert a long screwdriver to separate out the air filter connecting tube from the carburetor. Pull out the air filter assembly. Disconnect the cable and couplers. Remove the grommet for the accelerator cable. Disconnect the accelerator cable. Remove the fuel pipe. Disconnect the TPS coupler. Remove the carburetor assembly. Coolant draining. Remove the radiator bleeder screw and the O-ring. Remove the water pump cover drain bolt with the washer. Remember, removal of the bleeder screw allows fast draining of coolant. Collect the drained coolant carefully. The recommended coolant grade is as shown. Fit the coolant drain bolt. tank expansion for coolant removal. Remove the two Phillips screws. Remove the shroud assembly for the right-hand side. Similarly, remove it for the left-hand side. Remove the two bolts. Remove the shroud bracket. Disconnect the pressure cap radiator pipe. Remove the tank expansion for the coolant. Engine oil draining. Remove the strainer cap and drain the engine oil. Remember, do not use an open-ended spanner for loosening and tightening the strainer cap. Remove the strainer. The recommended engine oil grade and quantity are as shown. Fit the strainer cap. Radiator removal. Remove the 3 bolts with grommets and cup washers for the cowl radiator. Remove the cowl radiator. Disconnect the horn connections. Remove the clamp. Remove the hose thermostat to the radiator. Remove the clamp for the coolant hose radiator T. Remove the 4 flange nuts with spring washers. Pull out the radiator assembly. Disconnect the coupler for the fan motor. Disconnect the coolant hose radiator. Stator harness connections removal. Disconnect the stator plate. Disconnect the neutral switch. Disconnect the oil pressure switch. Now disconnect the coolant temperature sensor. Silencer connections removal. Now let us remove the pipe exhaust. Remove the 2 flange nuts. Remove the bottom clamping bolt. Now remove the pipe exhaust. Gear change pedal removal. Remove the bolts. Remove the gear change pedal. Small chain cover removal. Remove the 3 bolts. Remove the small chain cover. Chain lock removal. Remove the chain lock. Remove the chain link. Carefully collect the O-rings and remove the chain from the sprocket. Spark plug caps removal. Disconnect the 2 spark plug caps on the left-hand side and also on the right-hand side. Clutch cable connection removal. Remove the 2 bolts. Disconnect the clutch cable along with the bracket. Starter motor connection removal. remove the nut and disconnect the starter motor connections. Earthing connection removal. Remove the bolt. Disconnect the earthing connection from the chassis. Leg guard removal. Remove the bolts. Remove the nuts. Remove the washers and the leg guard left-hand side. Similarly, remove for the right-hand side. Right-hand side engine mounting removal. Place a jack or an engine support stand at the engine bottom to support it firmly. Remove the two flange bolts. Remove the spacer with the spring and the plain washer. Remove the engine stay on the right-hand side. Left-hand engine mounting removal. Now, similarly, remove it for the left-hand side. Lower engine mounting removal. Remove the engine mountings from the lower side. Remove the foundation nuts. Please take assistance to hold the engine firmly when taking out the engine from the chassis. Remove the two mounting bolts. Hold the engine firmly and take it out. Safely place the engine on an engine trolley. Spark plug removal. Remove the right-hand side spark plug. Remove the left-hand side spark plug. Remove the central spark plug. Cylinder head cover removal. Remove the 4 bolts. Remove the rubber washers. Pull out the head cover with the gasket. Magnet cover removal. Remove the 9 bolts. Remove the Magneto cover. Remove the gasket. Now remove the dowels. Valve timing marks inspection. Rotate the Magneto rotor and align it to get the correct timing mark such that the rotor mark is in line with the left-hand crankcase mark and the overhead cam sprocket marks are parallel to the cylinder head surface with the T mark on the top side. In this stage, both the rockers are free. This confirms that the valve timing is correct and also helps in hassle-free dismantling of the camshaft from the cylinder head. Chain tensioner removal. Remove the bolt. Carefully remove the O-ring. Using a small screwdriver, rotate the inside plunger clockwise to lock it. Remove the two bolts. Remove the cam chain tensioner assembly with the gasket. Cam sprocket removal. Place the cam sprocket holder special tool on the cam sprocket to lock and prevent its rotation. Now loosen the flange bolt. Remove the flange bolt. Now holding the cam chain, remove the cam sprocket. Remember, tie the cam chain using a soft copper wire and hold it upright. This is to prevent it from falling into the crankcase. Remove the collar. Sleeve spark plug removal. Remove the Allen grub screw. Remember, place a piece of cloth on the sleeve. Rotate it and pull out the sleeve firmly. Thermostat valve removal. Remove the two bolts. Remove the cover thermostat. Remove the thermostat valve with the O-ring. Clamp for hose removal. Remove the clamps. Remove the hose bypass to the pump. Remember, always place a tray below the engine to collect the spillage of drained coolant. Remove the two bolts. Remove the coolant pipe T assembly. Remove the O-ring. Cylinder head removal. Always loosen the two short bolts first, followed by the other bolts in a crisscross pattern. Holding the cam chain upright, take out the cylinder head assembly. Cylinder head assembly dismantling. Remove the bolt. remove the plate stopper rocker arm. Screw in the rocker shaft remover special tool and pull out the rocker shaft. Remove the rocker arm. Similarly, remove it from the other side. Remove the circlip carefully. Pull out the camshaft assembly from the cylinder head. Dismantling the valves. Place the valve spring compressor and adapter special tool on the intake valve retainer. Rotate the special tool handle to compress the valve spring gradually. Remove the cotter valve. Now release the spring tension and remove the special tool. Remove the retainer. Remove the valve spring. Remove the bottom retainer. Now push the valve down and pull it out from the other end. To remove all the other valves, follow the same process as described earlier. Remove the valve oil seals. Cylinder block removal. To dismantle the cylinder block, remove the two dowels. Remove the head gasket. Remove the guide chain. Holding the cam chain upright, pull out the cylinder block gradually. Remove the block gasket. Remove the two dowels. Piston assembly removal. Cover the crankcase bore with a clean lint-free cloth while removing the piston snap ring. Carefully remove the piston snap ring for both the sides. Use the piston pin drift special tool to push out the piston pin from the other side. Remove the piston. Magneto rotor with starter clutch assembly removal. Remove the bolt. Remove the stopper plate. Place the rotor holder special tool on the rotor and tighten it to hold the rotor firmly. Remove the rotor bolt and the washer. Fit the rotor puller special tool on the rotor and tighten it fully. Remember, the rotor puller special tool has left-hand threads. Hold the other end of the rotor puller special tool with a spanner. Now, start tightening the central bolt of the puller. Tilt the rotor with the starter clutch assembly is completely pulled out. Removal of the gear starter clutch from the body starter clutch. Rotate the gear starter clutch anti-clockwise and pull it out. Remove the woodruff key. Inspect the balancer gear timing marks for correct matching. Remember, incorrect matching will cause engine vibrations and damage to the balancer shaft and crankshaft. Cover water pump removal. Now, let's remove the cover water pump from the clutch side to loosen the water pump rotor dome type nut. Remove the 5 bolts. Remove the cover water pump with the O-ring. Remove the 2 parallel pins. To prevent rotation of the driven and driver gears when loosening the dome type nut, insert the primary gear holder special tool between the driver and the driven gear. Loosen the dome type nut. Gear balancer driven and driver removal. Now, using the special nut puller, first loosen the driver gear special nut. Place the primary gear holder as described earlier and then loosen the Allen bolt for the driven gear. Remember, place the tools properly and hold them firmly as the nuts are tightened to the specified torque. Remove the special nut. Remove the belly-willy washer for the driver gear. Remove the Allen bolt with the washer for the driven gear. Remove the gear balancer driven. Remove the gear balancer driver. Remove the square key. Remove the woodruff key. Gear starter counters 1 and 2 removal. Remove the gear starter counter 1. Remove the gear starter counter 2. Output sprocket removal. To prevent rotation of the output sprocket, lock it using the engine sprocket holder special tool and then loosen the sprocket bolts. Remove the 2 bolts. Remove the plate drive sprocket. Remove the special tool. Remove the engine sprocket. Pull out the bush. Neutral switch removal. Remove all the bolts and the upper and lower brackets securing the neutral switch cable. remove the neutral switch. Carefully remove the pin. Now remove the spring for the neutral switch. Cap oil filter removal. Remove the two bolts. Remember, always place a tray below the engine to collect the drained oil. Remove the cap along with the O-ring. Pull out the oil filter. Clutch cover removal. Remove all the 11 bolts. Remember, always loosen the bolts in a crisscross pattern. Remove the clutch cover. Remove the two dowels. Remove the gasket. Remove the clutch bearing. Starter motor removal. Remove the bolt. Tap the starter motor gently and remove it. Cam chain removal. Remove the cam chain. Primary gear and special nut for clutch removal. To prevent rotation of the primary gear and clutch housing, place the primary gear holder special tool between the clutch housing and the primary gear. Now, using the special nut puller, loosen the primary gear nut. As we did earlier, place the primary gear holder special tool and using the special nut puller, now loosen the clutch nut. Remember, the clutch nut has left-hand threads. Remove the clutch nut. Remove the belly-willy washer. Clutch removal. Remove the clutch stack with the washer. Remove the washer. Remember, hold the chain guide upright and then pull out the clutch housing. Remove the collared bush. Primary gear removal. Now remove the primary gear special nut. Remove the belly-willy washer. Remove the sprocket crankshaft. Remove the primary gear. Remove the woodruff key. Now remove the spacer. Clutch overhaul. Insert the clutch centering special tool in the clutch stack. Tighten the central nut. This will grip the clutch holder plate firmly and will avoid its distortion. Remember, always loosen the clutch bolts in a crisscross pattern. Remove the 4 bolts. Remove the special tool. Remove the holder clutch. Remove the 4 clutch springs. Remove the wheel clutch. Remove the 6 friction plates followed by the 5 pressure plates located in between every friction plate. Remove the plate judder spring. Remove the spring anti-judder. Now remove the hub clutch. Gear change lever removal. Remove the change lever and washer. Remove the washer. Oil pump removal. Remove the circlip. Remove the oil pump gear. Remove the 3 bolts. Remove the oil pump body. Remove the 2 dowels. Gear drum stopper assembly removal. Remove the collared Allen bolt with the big plain washer. Remove the drum stopper arm. Remove the small washer. Now remove the spring. Guide gear shift removal. Remove the Allen bolt. Remove the guide gear. Remove the spacer. Remove the parallel pin. Input shaft bearing stopper removal. Remove the Phillips screw with the stopper plate. Remove the engine breather tube. Remove the 4 longer bolts. remove the 10 crankcase securing bolts in a crisscross pattern. Now remove the engine from the engine mounting stand and place it on the engine bed for further splitting. To split the crankcase, use the Crankcase Splitting special tool. Install the tool properly. Tighten the special tool nuts. And ensure that the central bolt of the special tool matches perfectly with the crankshaft end. Crankcase Removal. Gradually start tightening the special tool's central bolt. The clutch side crankcase will start lifting up and will finally come out along with the special tool. Now lift up the clutch side crankcase. Remove the crankshaft. Transmission unit removal. Remove the spring for the shaft forkshift output. Remove the shaft forkshift output. Remove the shaft forkshift input. Disconnect the shaft forkshift input and output. Remove the gear change drum. Remove the forkshifts for the input and output shafts respectively. Remove the spring. Remove the washer for the first gear output. Now lift up the input and output shaft assemblies together. Remove the washer for the second gear input. Remove the two dowels. Remove the crankcase gasket. Balancer shaft removal. Now remove the balancer shaft from the Magneto side crankcase. Remove the bolt. Remove the stopper plate. Now remove the dome type nut that was loosened earlier. Remove the washer. Tap the shaft to remove the balancer shaft assembly. Remove the water pump rotor. Remember, do not insert a screwdriver or a sharp object to remove the water pump rotor. When assembling the engine, replace the old oil seals, gaskets and O-rings with new ones. Now let's replace the oil seal for the balancer shaft. Remove the circlip. Remove the old oil seal from both sides carefully. Using a balancer oil seal fitment special tool, fit the new oil seals for both sides. Fit the circlip. Similarly, fit all other left and right hand side crankcase oil seals. Blow compressed air into the oil passages to clean them. Check for the free flow of oil through the oil passages. Lubricate all the bearings with engine oil. Clutch side crankcase heating. Heat the clutch side crankcase for 10 minutes using the crankcase heater. Crankshaft fitment. Place the heated crankcase on the engine bed. Remember, be careful when handling the heated crankcase. Lubricate the crankshaft clutch side bearing. Fit the crankshaft. Ensure free rotation of the crankshaft. Lubricate all clutch side crankcase bearings. Transmission unit fitment. Fit the washer for the first gear output. Fit the input and output shaft assemblies together. Fit the washer for the second gear input. Then fit one forkshift for the input shaft and guide it into the respective slider gear. Now fit two forkshifts for the output shaft and guide them into the respective slider gears. Remember, two larger size shift forks are used for the output shaft and a smaller one for the input shaft. Lubricate the gear change drum. Fit the gear change drum. Rotate it and check for its free movement. Guide the forkshift pins for the output and input shafts into the respective gear change drum groove. Fit the shaft forkshift input. Apply grease on the shaft forkshift output and fix the spring inside. Now, guide this shaft into the output forkshift gradually. Inspect gear shifting. Rotate the gear change drum and check for smooth shifting of all the gears. Check and confirm for getting the transmission into neutral position. Fit the spring on the shaft forkshift output. Balancer shaft assembly fitment. Apply a thin layer of Kluber lubripetamo grease on the seal lips and the shaft for smooth sliding of the shaft over the oil seal. Fit the seal protector sleeve special tool on the shaft. Now, pass the balancer shaft with the special tool through both the seals carefully. Lubricate the bearing. Fit the lock plate. Apply Loctite on the bolt. Tighten the bolt to the specified torque as shown. Crankcase gasket fitment. Fit the two dowels. Fit the crankcase gasket. Crankcase Magneto side fitment. Lubricate the bearings and bearing seat for the Magneto side crankcase. Now, put the crankcase over the clutch side and assemble both the halves. Fit the 10 bolts. Tighten them to the specified torque as shown. Apply Loctite on the 4 inner bolts. Tighten them to the specified torque as shown. Carefully cut the unwanted part of the crankcase gasket. Remember, rotate the crankshaft and ensure that it rotates freely after tightening of all the crankcase bolts. Guide gear shift fitment. Apply Loctite and fit the stopper plate along with the screw. Tighten the screw. Fit the parallel pin. Fit the spacer on the guide gear shift and fit it together. Apply Loctite on the Allen bolt and tighten it. Rotate the guide gear shift and confirm for smooth gear shifting. Gear drum stopper assembly fitment. Fit the spring. Assemble it together with the small washer, drum stopper arm and the big plain washer. Insert the collared Allen bolt. Apply Loctite on the Allen bolt and tighten it. Remember, confirm the free movement of the arm and check for smooth gear shifting. Gear change lever fitment. Fit the washer. Fit the changer lever. Shift the gears and check for the smooth gear shifting once again. Oil pump fitment. Fit the 2 dowel pins. Fit the oil pump body. Apply Loctite on the 3 bolts. tighten the bolts to the specified torque as shown. Fit the oil pump gear. Carefully fit the circlip. Primary gear fitment. Fit the spacer. Fit the woodruff key. Fit the primary gear. Clutch assembling. Now let's assemble the clutch. The clutch has a plate judder spring and a spring anti-judder. In the clutch hub, fit the spring anti-judder. Now fit the plate judder spring. Remember, the plate judder spring concave side should face upward. Fit one larger diameter friction plate. Fit 5 pressure plates placed individually between these 6 friction plates. Remember, the sharp edge of all the pressure plates to face upward when assembled. Fit the wheel clutch. Fit the springs. Fit the holder clutch. Apply Loctite on the clutch bolts and guide them inside. Align the friction plate tangs. Use the clutch centering special tool to align and compress the assembly uniformly. Now tighten the clutch bolts in a crisscross pattern . Confirm for the free movement of the clutch stack in the clutch housing. Now tighten the clutch bolts to the specified torque as shown. Clutch housing fitment. Fit the collared bush. Fit the clutch housing. Cam chain fitment. Insert the cam chain. Fit the sprocket crankshaft. Guide the chain over the sprocket. Fit the belly-willy washer on the primary gear. Apply Loctite on the special nut and fit the special nut. Clutch assembly fitment. Fit the washer. Fit the clutch stack complete. Fit the belly-willy washer. Apply Loctite on the special nut and now fit the special nut. Remember, the clutch nut has left-hand threads. Tightening the primary gear nut and special nut for the clutch. Use both the primary gear holder and the clutch nut special tool. When tightening both the primary gear and the clutch nut, place the primary gear holder special tool between the clutch housing and the primary gear to prevent the gear rotation. Tighten the primary gear nut to the specified torque as shown. Now tighten the clutch nut to the specified torque as shown. Oil filter assembly fitment. Fit the oil filter. Fit the O-ring. Fit the cap oil filter. Fit the 2 bolts. Tighten the bolts to the specified torque as shown. Neutral switch fitment. Carefully fit the spring. Fit the pin. Fit the neutral switch. Apply Loctite and fit the 2 bolts. Tighten the bolts to the specified torque as shown. Remember, close the crankcase bore using a clean lint-free cloth to prevent the bracket or bolt from falling into the crankcase. Apply Loctite on the bolts and fit the lower and upper bracket securing the neutral switch cable. Tighten all the bolts to the specified torque as shown. Balancer, driven and driver gear fitment. Fit the square key. Fit the gear balancer driven. Fit the woodruff key. Now align both the gear marks and fit it. Remember that the driver and the driven gear marks must be in line with each other. At the same time, the primary gear mark should also be in line with the crankcase mark. Incorrect timing will cause engine vibration and also damage to the balancer gear and the crankshaft. Fit the belly-willy washer. Apply Loctite on the special nut for the driver gear. Fit the special nut. Apply Loctite on the Allen bolt. Fit the Allen bolt. Remember, the plain side of the washer should always face outside. Special tool application. For tightening the balancer gear special nut, use the special nut puller and the primary gear holder special tools to tighten the driver gear special nut and the Allen bolt. Tighten the special nut to the specified torque as shown. Tighten the Allen bolt to the specified torque as shown. Gear starter counter 1 and 2 fitment. Fit the gear starter counter 1. Fit the gear starter counter 2. Magneto rotor fitment. Lubricate the gear starter clutch. Rotate it anti-clockwise and insert inside the body starter clutch. Fit the woodruff key. Fit the gear starter clutch assembly with the Magneto carefully. Fit the washer. Apply Loctite on the bolt and guide it inside. Use the Magneto rotor holder special tool to hold the Magneto rotor firmly. Tighten the bolt to the specified torque as shown. Apply Loctite on the stopper plate bolt. Fit the stopper plate along with the bolt. Tighten the bolt to the specified torque as shown. Water pump rotor fitment. Fit the water pump rotor and the washer. Apply Loctite on the dome type nut. To prevent the rotation of the water pump rotor, place the primary gear holder special tool between the counter gear 2 and the gear starter clutch. Now tighten the dome nut gradually. Tighten the nut to the specified torque as shown. Fit the two parallel pins. Fit the water pump cover with the O-ring. Fit the 5 bolts. Tighten them in a crisscross pattern. Tighten the bolts to the specified torque as shown. Clutch cover fitment. Fit the clutch bearing. Fit the dowels. Fit the clutch cover gasket. Fit the clutch cover. Fit the 11 bolts and tighten them in a crisscross pattern. Tighten the bolts to the specified torque as shown. Starter motor fitment. Apply a thin layer of multi-purpose grease on the starter motor O-ring and guide it inside. Fit the bolts. Tighten the bolts to the specified torque as shown. Piston assembly fitment. Fit the 2 dowels. Fit the block gasket. Cover the bore of the crankcase with a lint-free cloth. Fit the piston. Remember, the piston crown with the arrow mark must face the exhaust side. Push the piston pin inside the connecting rod small end. Fit the snap rings for both the sides carefully. Inspect them for firm fitment. Piston rings positioning. Always position the piston ring end gaps facing as bottom oil rail facing 30 degree toward the left of the exhaust mark. Oil expander facing opposite the exhaust mark. Top oil rail facing 30 degree toward the right of the exhaust mark. Second piston ring facing opposite the exhaust mark. First piston ring facing toward the exhaust mark. Cylinder block fitment. Tie the cam chain using a soft copper wire. Lubricate the cylinder block. Compress the piston rings and guide the piston assembly into the cylinder block carefully. Guide the cam chain vertically up through the cylinder block and hold it. Push down the cylinder block gradually to slide in the piston assembly. Fit the cam chain guide. Fit the two dowels. Fit the cylinder head gasket. Cylinder head assembly. Fit the valve oil seals on the valve guide. Similarly, fit them for the other side. Fit the bottom retainer. Insert the intake valve through the combustion chamber side. Fit the valve spring with the close coiled end facing downward. Fit the valve retainer. Place the valve spring compressor and adapter special tool on the intake valve retainer. Rotate the special tool handle to compress the valve spring gradually. Insert the valve cotters carefully and ensure correct fitment. Now, release the spring tension and remove the special tool. Similarly, fit it for all the remaining intake and exhaust valves. Camshaft fitment. Lubricate the bearing. Insert the camshaft assembly into the cylinder head. Fit the circlip and confirm for firm fitment. Fit the intake rocker arm. Fit the rocker shaft. Similarly, fit it for the exhaust side. Apply Loctite on the bolt. Fit the plate stopper rocker arm. Tighten the bolt to the specified torque as shown. Cylinder head fitment. Guide in the cam chain through the cylinder head assembly, holding it vertically upright. Fit the cylinder head assembly. Fit the 4 bolts along with the washers. Remember, always tighten 4 bolts first in a crisscross pattern. Tighten the bolts to the specified torque as shown. Fit the two short bolts. Tighten the bolts to the specified torque as shown. Sleeve spark plug fitment. Apply a thin layer of multi-purpose grease on the sleeve. Tap it and fit it inside. Fit the Allen grub screw. Cam sprocket fitment. Fit the collar. Remove the tied copper wire now. Rotate the magneto rotor and confirm that the rotor mark is in line with the left-hand crankcase mark. Guide the cam sprocket over the cam chain. Align the valve timing marks on the sprocket such that they are parallel to the cylinder head surface and the T mark is on the top side. Apply Loctite on the flange bolt. Using the cam sprocket holder special tool, lock the cam sprocket to prevent its rotation. Tighten the flange bolt to the specified torque as shown. Cam chain tensioner fitment. Using a small screwdriver, rotate the inside plunger clockwise to lock it. Fit the gasket. Insert the cam chain tensioner. Fit the bolts. Tighten them to the specified torque as shown. Now, turn the screw a little bit to unlock the cam chain tensioner plunger. This builds the tension on the cam chain automatically. Fit the O-ring. Tighten the central bolt. Tappet setting. Now let's set the tappet clearance after satisfying the conditions like cam sprocket mark is parallel to the cylinder head surface. T mark is on the top side. The rotor mark is in line with the left-hand crankcase mark. And the rockers are in the free state. Now, check and adjust the valve tappet clearance for all the valves. If found incorrect, adjust it. The recommended tappet clearance is as shown. Spark plug fitment. Fit the spark plugs using the spark plug fitting special tool. Cylinder head cover fitment. Fit the gasket along with the head cover. Fit the 4 rubber washers. Fit the 4 bolts. Tighten them to the specified torque as shown. Thermostat valve fitment. Fit the thermostat valve with the O-ring. Fit the 2 bolts. Tighten them to the specified torque as shown. Hose bypass to the pump fitment. Fit the O-ring. Fit the coolant pipe T assembly. Fit the 2 bolts. Tighten them to the specified torque as shown. Connect the hose bypass to the pump and fit the clamp. Spark plug left side fitment. Fit the central spark plug. Fit the left side spark plug. The location-wise spark plugs are fitted as Magneto cover fitment. Fit the 2 dowels. Fit the gasket. Fit the Magneto cover. Now fit the 9 bolts. Tighten them to the specified torque as shown. Output sprocket bush fitment. Fit the output sprocket bush. Ensure that the cut side of the bush goes inside. Fit the engine sprocket. Fit the plate drive sprocket. Apply Loctite on the bolts and guide them inside. Using an engine sprocket holder special tool, lock the sprocket to prevent its rotation. Tighten the bolts to the specified torque as shown. Oil strainer fitment. Remove the strainer cap. Fit the strainer. Fit the strainer cap with an O-ring. Tighten it to the specified torque as shown. Engine breather tube fitment. Fit the engine breather tube. Fit the circlip. This completes the engine assembly process. Please take assistance once again to carry the engine for mounting it on the vehicle. The recommended coolant make and grade is Motul Motocool Expert, Castrol Radicool. Fill the coolant in the expansion tank. Ensure level between the minimum and maximum level marks. When filling the coolant, open the bleeder screw and bleed the trapped air in the cooling system through the bleeder screw. Fill the engine oil of recommended grade as shown. The engine oil level when viewed from the oil inspection window should be in between the upper and lower level mark.